Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of The Untold. Of course, this is the show where we have brilliant people, amazing people. But first, I'm your host, Abdullah Hindiani.
And I'm your host, Al-Athari. And today we're joined by an influencer and personal trainer, Pal Sebestyen, who is a very interesting guy. He's actually known as the Barefoot Guy, which I'm really curious about.
Yeah, honestly, from browsing his, social media accounts, it seems like he's an advocate for running, living your life barefoot, right? And I think, there's a lot of health benefits to it, but I'm probably sure we're going to talk about Pal through his journey and how he reached such conclusions, right?
I think that's amazing because people like him really know how to live life. I feel they're doing the right thing, they're healthy, they're inspiring to others. And I've heard a lot about how being barefoot is so good for you, but I'm curious to hear how he got started with all of this.
Yeah, and I'm also curious how he deals with a lot of glass shards on the streets, because I think that's the worrisome of a lot of people. And for us to know that, we are going to take a break so we can back and join him. And we are back on the conversation segment of The Untold. And first, I want to welcome our guest, Pal Sebestyen. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. And your pronunciation was perfect.
Thank you.
Well, it's wonderful to have you. And before we dive into what people know you as today, I want to ask you about before. What was your life like before you became the Barefoot Guy? What did you do? What was your experience?
Okay. Would you like to go back to like 15 years ago?
As long as you wish.
Okay. So today I'm 45. When I was 20, I decided to leave my country. So the first place I thought about is London. So I went to London. I was working in hospitality. Slowly I made my way up. I was managing restaurants, and that's what I've been doing. I used to cycle like professionally, so I had less and less time for sport. And one day I decided that's enough, and this is how I switched my career. That was still in London.
Well, I do love London. I used to live there myself. So it's cool to hear that you lived there before. And before that, you're from Hungary, right?
I'm from Hungary, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like that's quite a journey already. And I'm curious to know, how we went from, as you said, hospitality to the rest of it.
Yeah, because obviously we're in Kuwait, and Kuwait is very outside the map of Hungary and London. So I think the next, segue to our next question is, how did you end up being in Kuwait here?
Okay, that's an interesting one, because this is where my my mother comes in the picture. I was in London, of course, like almost 15 years overall. And the whole family knew that I want to move out, but I was desperate. I didn't like it anymore. I wanted to leave. I wanted to go somewhere else. I didn't think of going to Hungary. I think 4 points I had. One has to be hot country, because I had enough of the gray. So I think that's a big tick for Kuwait. It's hot. Yeah. It has to be a sea as well. It's here. English speaking, and of course I wanted to be financially stable. So my mother was invited to Kuwait because she is one of the most known person in Hungary when it comes to Down syndrome and autism.
Oh, mashallah.
She created her own project, how to teach these kids, and also how to educate the teachers who are looking after these kids. So she got invitation here in Kuwait we have only 300-400 Hungarians. So they wanted to hear my mother's course. And at the same time, somehow, I don't know how that happened, but that was either the 30th or the 40th anniversary of Kuwait University that year, 2014. And they invited her to give a lecture. And she finally got a nice documents from the educational minister that time, that he wishes that this system can be brought into Kuwait. She was here 2 weeks and she texted me. She said, this is the place you need to come. You need to come now. I get you the flight ticket. Please fly now. And I said, I cannot come now, but if you can get in touch with me and the few Hungarians who live here, I would love to hear their feedback about the country, what's happening and how is it. And this is how I started to talk to a few Hungarians. The talk went for 2 weeks. And then I applied for a job and I got the job and I came.
Mashallah.
Well, that's amazing. First of all, thank you to your mother for bringing you to us.
Yes.
Bless her for having that, I think, motherly instinct, this is the place, you need to come here now. And also, mashallah, what she does is amazing. And I'm glad she was able to educate the people in Kuwait over such an important issue and bring awareness to it, because we definitely need more of that in the world, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that she was able to do that here, and that she was able to kind of get you to come here, because like I've met a lot of Europeans in Kuwait, and the main thing they always say is, I want the sun, I want it to be hot, because they're tired of the rain and the cold from the countries they're usually from. And Kuwait, mashallah, we do have a lot of sun. We're a very hot country. That's one of the main things we have. So I am curious though, when you first came to Kuwait though, what was your reaction? Like, what was your experience?
That was interesting because I actually came on the 28th of July 2015. And that time there were some issues. Here and in London, there was problems also. So when I landed, it was just, I think Ramadan just ended. That was the 28th of July 2015, I think just ended. And first, I worked in Solaibikat. I was there for, I think, 3-4 months. And that time, I have to be honest, I'm an honest guy, that I did not really enjoy. That's not really what I expected. As I was a self-employed personal trainer back in London, I think the most painful for me was that 6 days a week, fixed hours, and there is someone tells you what to do and when to do that. And that was very painful. So I wanted to be out of this very quickly. Then I moved to 360 Mall. I was working there for a while.
You know, that sounds like a big adjustment for anybody.
Yes.
Especially to go from, as you said, being your own boss to having to then answer to someone and work multiple days a week at certain hours and not have that freedom, flexibility. I think we all strive for that eventually.
Yeah, honestly, I think a lot of people, you know, especially going from a career choice that is very liberating, very free with your own time, to one that is time constrained, it feels so, you know, it's like you're in a prison, right? So I do want to ask you, you know, and then you obviously are here because you are the barefoot guy, you are a personal coach. So how did that transition come along once you got here in Kuwait? You know, how did that career, you know, separation come along?
You mean from the personal trainer into...
From working the fixed hours to being, you know, the personal trainer with the, you know, adapting the barefoot, you know, adaptations into your mentality.
Okay, so in London, I switched my profession. That was in London. So I worked as a personal trainer, as a freelancer in London. And this is how I came here. So over here, I started to be a personal trainer straight away. And it was very difficult. It was very difficult. Of course, we skipped that part, but I lived 6 years in Southeast Asia during my 15 years in London. So I was already very easy to adapt to any conditions. So when sometimes people say that, oh, you come to Kuwait, it's different, you don't have this, you don't have that, all these kind of things, and people struggle, and people, you know, they need more time to adjust, and a lot of people actually leave because they cannot. But for me, it was like very, very easy. The adjusting was very easy because I lived many of these hill tribe villages already in Southeast Asia, all over the place. I did a lot of this backpacking. So to me, it was very easy to adjust to people here in Kuwait.
Well, that makes sense because it's a big thing to go from a regular job to backpacking across Southeast Asia. What were the kind of countries you went to or things that you learned there?
It's easier which country I didn't go to.
Okay.
First time, I was still in the hospitality. I decided okay, I've been working with people from all over the world, Brazilian, especially I'm talking about Brazilian, French, from Holland, Portuguese, Argentinian. Now these people came to work in London and they worked for 6 months and they left. So where are you going? We go to travel. And I said, but and there's an Eastern European mindset that, but you have a job, you're leaving your job. And then we're like, my friend is London. Anytime I come back, I get a job. Amazing. It's easy. So I'm like, how much you have left? Another month. I was like, come on. And what are you going to do? You're going to work there? Again, the same mindset. So I got used to these people. I was talking to these people a lot. And then one day I had a very long evening shift. And that time I was managing 3 restaurants. We had a lot of problems that night. And I went upstairs and I said to my friend, and I said, that's it. I'm leaving. Let's go. So I went back to work. Another like half an hour, I was talking to the general manager. I said, I have some problems. I don't know what to do. But when I went back after half an hour, they clicked and they booked a ticket to Hong Kong. So I said, when is the return? They said, there's no return. We've been planning this.
Oh wow,
So,
just to go and see what
yeah,
happens.
so that is exactly when you leave the job, when you leave your apartment, when you leave everyone. And we spent 1 year there.
Wow.
So we flew to Hong Kong, and from Hong Kong, for the full year, we did not fly. We only traveled on land or sea, things like that. So we went Hong Kong, Macau, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Borneo, then Nepal, India, south of India, Sri Lanka, Kashmir.
Wow. Mashallah, that's like the dream. I want to go to all these places myself.
Yeah, honestly,
you know?
it feels like a once in a lifetime kind of experience. But it seems like you've had a lot of once in a lifetime experiences.
That was this 1 year, and it's an interesting one. I might be crazy, but I really enjoyed this way. When I decided, when I went to Heathrow, in Heathrow Airport, I just removed my watch and I put it in a bin. And after that, 6 more times I did these trips. 6 more times I lost one watch. Every year, every time I lost one watch, because I needed that feeling that is over. If the bus is late, it's okay. If the boat is late, it's okay. If I want to stay another week in an island, I stay another week, because I have nothing there in London. They know Pal is going to come back maybe in April. Okay, but if it's May, May. If it's February, February.
I love that. That feels like an amazing philosophy to live by. Because I feel like often we are too constrained by time, which is more of a man-made concept anyways. Like we invented all these rules about time and when to be here and like being late and being early and all these other things. But life goes on whether we're counting the clock or not, you know? And it's better to kind of just live, I think, as the moment goes on. I think a lot of us have forgotten how to be in the moment a lot. So is that something you really learned in your travels?
Yes. I like to live every second with what is there, you know. And once you go for a longer trip, like I call it vacation or traveling. This is 2 totally different things. If you go for a 2 weeks vacation, you have to have everything full on, 100% ready, because you don't want to have disappointments. You have only 14 days.
Yeah.
But when you go for a long trip, you have time to experience the bads, the not so goods, the not comfortable, you know.
Kind of live like a local as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really love that. And, you know, even here, I talked to my friend today, and I don't know how, he just told me that, I think since you're doing this barefoot thing, then you should more meet up Kuwaiti people. I said, Habibi, all my friends Kuwaiti people. like I don't know how this has happened. It's probably just me, that I always want to, wherever I am, wherever I live, I want to live with the locals, do similar stuff, because I seen British people for 15 years in England and other nationalities. Now I'm here. I don't know for how long. I prefer to more, you know, understanding and experiencing the local life.
I think that's the beauty of traveling, is that if you ingrain yourself within the culture, that's the best thing about traveling, you know, not the feeling of being a tourist, but feeling of belonging to the place. And also, you know, funny thing is that, speaking of time and how limited we are on time, we are short on time, so we are going to take a break. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for staying tuned. Pal, I want to ask you about something, because we've gone on the first part of the conversation about your Southeast Asia travels. Is that, you know, the birthplace of your barefoot concept?
I believe yes.
Oh, would you like to elaborate more on that?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I think this is where the barefoot thing goes hand in hand with simplicity. I always like to live my life in a very simple way. Like I do things, even today, if you see me here and there, I do things because I feel good and I feel natural. Like if I want to walk around in Al Shaid Park barefoot, that's what I feel good about. It's not about that who's gonna see me or how I can stand out. It's I feel that is very natural. And definitely Southeast Asia was the first one. We had that was a very big one. I was already in Kuwait, and my wife, she is a personal trainer and yoga teacher now, and she said she wants to do a yoga teacher course. So she said, I'm going to travel to India. And I said, you're not going to travel alone. I was already nus Kuwaiti. So I said, yeah, no, you're not going without your husband nowhere. She said, okay, so you're going to become a yoga teacher as well? And I said, oh my God. She said, it looks good on your CV. Come with me to India. So we went to India for 5 weeks. And this is where, yes, it was barefoot. It was about yoga. It was about vegan. And then I got into this mood so much. So I came back and I was working still in a gym. And I did the first few days barefoot. And yes, I'm just getting back to your question because it's a very interesting one. I came back to the gym and I was walking around barefoot, and the GM came out and he said, Pal, please, just, I know you live there like a nomad. Now you're back to Kuwait. You're in 360 more, you know, please don't do this.
Put your shoe back.
Don't do this. Put your shoe back. And I said, and it's so interesting because this actually came to me just like a few weeks ago, that I told him that day, I said, you know what? In this country, if I would ever walk around barefoot, it's gonna be a massive hit. But please, let me just get back to my office and just put on your shoe and forget about it, okay? Please. Because they know I'm never really grounded. I'm always somewhere like up here. And it's reality. Today is reality. I do walk around barefoot, and it came back to from that date, definitely. Because after that, he said, you have to put on a shoe. And I said, all right, so it's another control. Okay, let's see. And a few years passed, and I forgot about it. I got back to barefoot shoe. I was wearing barefoot shoe now for more than 3 years. So my body got used to it so much. And now here it is. I do barefoot run. I run races barefoot, and I'm the barefoot guy.
Literally became your name now, the barefoot guy.
Yes, and it's really funny that he told me that you should stop this. And I said, if I would go out barefoot, that would be a big hit in this country. It's like, okay, go, leave it, forget about it.
But you were right.
Yes. Yes, but how many years passed after that? That was 2018, this one, when I told him.
So when did you start going outside barefoot and just kind of challenging, you know, societal norms about this?
So the barefoot shoe is with me for 3 years now. Slowly I adjusted my body, I got used to it, and now I only can wear this. I'm not exaggerating, other shoes hurt me. So this is the only one. And I think the first running race this year, I can't remember, maybe it's called the Police Run. And I encouraged one of my personal training clients, to do this race. He's 49 years old. He's never done anything like that. We've been training for years. I said, you can do it. It's easy. We just go. It's a 5 kilometers run. And he said, okay, let's do it. But please, we run together. So I don't want you to go ahead of me and just stay with me. I used to do triathlon and Ironman. So the 5K run was not so much challenging. So I told him, I said, okay, but I'm going to go barefoot shoe. He's like, okay. I said, one more thing. I'm going to go barefoot shoe half, 2.5 kilometers, and I'm going to take it off and I'm going to go barefoot on the way back. I said, are you okay with that? You know, sometimes I need to ask this because some gentlemen not okay with that in Kuwait. He said, yeah, I don't mind, but you're crazy. I said, you know I'm crazy. So when we had the turning point, I removed the shoe and I ran back with the shoe. And this is where a lot of cameras captured me having the barefoot shoe in my hand. And we arrived, I met my friend for a coffee, and he said, you run barefoot? I said, yes. He said, did you take some photos? I said, yes. And he said, show me the photos. He said, man, this is, you put it on somewhere. This is a good video. This is a very interesting video, believe me. And this is how the first big video came alive. And there was a lot of views on that one. And it started to carry on. Next week, another race, then MBK race. Then there was some other big running events as well, where I participated. And during these times, I had more and more and more time that I decided I'm going to walk around barefoot.
So did you feel the pressure after making a social media account to always post things, to always have something new? Or did that not affect your barefoot, challenges so much?
Look, I was a personal trainer before who explains you how to do shoulder press. I cannot send my message to hundreds and thousands. That's the reality. as many camera angles I had. No one cares. There is an algorithm, you catch it or not. No one cares. Now I started to do more of these videos, and I started to see that a lot of people interested about Pal. Not necessarily that the guy is walking around barefoot. It's more like Pal. I also had some good comments, also some bad comments, but this is how it's encouraged me to do more barefoot related content. And of course, I feel very good when I'm barefoot, and I feel just amazed when I'm barefoot. I feel so free. And whoever is watching, I always like to look different. I don't like the standard way of living. Like, oh, I'm 45, I never lived in that standard level. So if there are hundreds watching me or thousands in AziadiQ8 Park, it's okay. If that's good for you, watch. It's good. It's fine. I'm okay with that.
No, I need to cultivate that mentality because when I first saw you, I saw your stuff on social media and I was like, oh, that's so interesting, because I had some friends tell me about grounding, which is the idea of being barefoot on the earth, and like it helps with your energy and like it makes you feel good, because as humans we're meant to be connected to the earth. Yes. It's actually the more natural way of being.
Exactly.
And I see a lot of stuff about it on social media these days because we're trying to go back to a more natural path, I think. But a part of me is a bit shy or afraid to do it in public places. Like, I think I can't go to the park and remove my shoes and just walk. Going to the beach is different. Everyone can be barefoot in the beach and no one thinks anything of it. But I used to work with one guy who every single morning, he would say, like, I go every morning, I just remove my shoes, I stand in the grass in the sun for like 10 minutes, and then I come back to the office. Perfect. And I was like, that's goals. I want to do that one day. And another friend told me, I tried what he said. It's amazing. You have to try it. Trust me. I feel really good. It helps me sleep. It helps me feel calm and relaxed. You need to do it. So could you tell us a bit more about why you think it's like so good for you?
First of all, if you look at the body, this is where everything starts. I mean, you can have a good posture, bad posture, lower back pain, upper back pain, hip pain, knee pain. But it's all goes back to the foundation, and that's where it all starts. And once we get to 1 year old, what happens? Mama, Papa gives us a shoe. Okay, that beautiful little feet is not there anymore. We have a nice shoe on, and this is where everything. I'm sorry to say that everything goes downhill from that, from year 1 or 1.5. This is where our toes starting to be a little bit, restricted. And then we are here. I'm 45, we are in this age where we have a knee pain, we have all kind of problems. And then we're trying to fix the pain itself. Is a hip, is a lower back. Oh, your posture is bad. You need to do this, you need to do that. No, I strongly believe that we need to spend more time being barefoot, because why do we eat? I can consider myself nus kuwaiti. Okay, why do we eat with hands sometimes? Because the senses, you sense hot textures, it is different.
It feels more real.
Yes, but that is not real since age 1. We have something on, and once you remove it, you start to see your toes are spreading. You start to feel things on the ground. The other day I was running in AziadiQ8 Park, and very interesting, it was cold. The grass is way colder than the actual marble walk. So you don't really know that until you feel it, because it feels like that stone hard surface. It's much colder, but it's not. It's the opposite. Yeah. You're barefoot. You feel. You're sensing everything. The grounding. Yes, we can go back as well. I feel very. I don't know. I'm a very free soul, but when I'm barefoot, it's even more. I can run in AziadiQ8 Park and just start, and I jump on something, I jump off, I go between the trees, I go down onto the grass, back onto the pavement, because I know my feet now, it's with me. It's developed, the muscles are working again, not like when we wear shoe for many, many years. So it gives me the foundation, and I know exactly that I can jump from here to down, but maybe you don't know when you wear a shoe, because you might get some pain in your ankle. But why? Because you are together with the shoe. And you don't know what the shoe can handle, but I know what my foot can handle. So maybe I can jump from here and that's safe. If you tell me jump from here, maybe I say I cannot because I know that's going to be a too much impact.
You're more aware of your body
Exactly.
and its capabilities.
Yeah.
And also it's healthier because I remember, like I forgot the name of it, but there was a documentary about, I think, a group of people in Latin America who are known for running barefoot through the mountains.
Yes.
So the documentary crew took them and then they made like, you know, these tests on their joints or whatever. And they found even their elders had more healthy joints, you know, especially the hips and the knee joints, the leg joints, healthier than people who didn't wear shoes. And that's why there was like, you know, at the time, a lot of movements created to make the barefoot kind of shoes.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of healthy benefits. And it has tremendous, you know, like you said, physical capabilities because it makes you understand your own body.
You know, when I run barefoot, it's crazy, but I do feel like an off-road car. You know, really, like I know exactly I can go left, right, up, down. Because I know exactly what my foot can do. But once you have a shoe, you're blocking this sense. You cannot really do the same thing.
You know, it's funny that you're saying all that because I spoke recently to a pediatric physiotherapist.
Okay.
And he was talking about how important it is for young children to be barefoot.
Yes.
That they get all these, like you said, about the cold and the grass and the pavement.
Yeah.
Part of growing up and learning your body is knowing all the different sensory experiences.
Yeah.
And how do children learn? They learn just through experiencing the world, by touching things, by walking, by moving, by seeing. That's how they absorb everything like sponges. And the feet is so important, he was telling me, because whenever they walk on any surface, that's how they're learning information, how their body is growing. And even how you mentioned how the shoes force our toes more this way.
Yeah.
I have heard that we are meant to have more spread toes because
like a baby foot.
Yeah,
you know,
like
when
a
you see
baby
the
foot.
baby foot, it is like that.
Yeah, so that's like the more natural way. And actually, it's better, I think, grip on the ground. So if you jump and do these things, you're able to actually do different types of terrain, different textures. But we've kind of forgotten that and gone in the opposite direction because that's the civilized way of being almost, you know, with the shoes and all that.
But you know, like, for example, back to Thailand, Cambodia, especially these two countries, I've seen guys, they wear flip-flop, okay? But even in a flip-flop, you're spreading with your toes. But first, when I traveled there, I was amazed. I was looking at their food because it did look like a hand. It did look like a hand. And you see them, they go on the coconut tree barefoot.
Truly, just climbing like
they
that,
go up because the grip is huge. I tried to go on one palm tree in Adalia Park. I fell down. I went up like 3 meters and then I slipped and...
No, that's so cool. I think as humans, we've forgotten that we are meant to be climbing and jumping and running and doing all these things. And it's been part of us for so long.
Yeah.
But we got so used to kind of being like, we drive everywhere now. We wear shoes when we walk. We go to certain areas to do certain things.
Well, I think I'm part of the humans who are very happy with eating pizza and just playing, you know, playing console games from the couch. I'm that kind of lazy person. With that being said, though, Pal, we have run out of time.
Okay.
But I do want to thank you for being a very, you know, entertaining guest for us here on The Untold.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you, and I swear it was so fun to talk to you and learn all this stuff, and I'm glad we got to embrace this philosophy a bit more.
Thank you so much. I'll come back next week.
Yeah, please do. Maybe we'll all be barefoots as well.
Yalla, let's do it. Perfect.
Oh, and with that, we are taking a quick break. And that was all we had today with the Barefoot Guy. And honestly, he was amazing and so much fun to talk to.
He was honestly so much fun to talk to. I'd like to also apologize to our production team because they had so many questions, you know, prepared. We've only gone through 2 of them because we've had an amazing conversation. So I do want to thank Pal for sharing the stage with us, for being our guest today.
Me too. I loved hearing his journey, how he went from one place and then he traveled and developed his own philosophies about life, learning how to live in the moment, forget about time. I think we could all use some of that in our lives.
Yeah, I think it's a great, you know, message for today's episode of The Untold is that don't fear, you know, being connected with the earth, you know, don't fear being connected to your world, your surroundings, because honestly, it's fun, right? And it's also, it has its health benefits.
Yeah, and it's great to hear that he's able to inspire other people to do the same and go on runs and kind of just became it organically for him. Like he didn't plan it this way, it's just who he is as a person and now it's shining in his everyday life. And I hope that more of us get to experience being barefoot outside and experiencing the wonders of it with Mother
Hopefully,
Nature.
I am going to try, you know, running back to my car barefoot today. With that being said, we are going to wrap the episode. That's it from us.